And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael Chacín, as known as El Capitán Rafucho, and welcome to episode number 12 of the Combat Club, along with my co-host, Zenith. So he'll be in a few minutes right now, but right now it is a show where mixed martial arts, boxing, and wrestling fans are united for this podcast. Not only we just bringing out for the preview, the reviews, also breakdown for all these athletes who are making through for the MMA, boxing, wrestling. Also, we just have film study, interviews on the street, interviews with professionals. I mean, what can I tell you about this, folks? So, welcome everybody to another edition of the Combat Club. And right now, I think this episode is gonna be dedicated to someone who belongs to very special. It's been 1 year ago since our beloved friend, the original one, the original for the Four Horsemen of the show Premium Takes, Jeffrey, one of the coolest content creators from the New York Giants, Mets, also for Brooklyn Nets, wrestling. I mean, he just passed away 1 year ago, and we're still honoring this because this one is gonna be dedicated to Jeff, and I hope you're doing good. So much love to him, and of course, much praise to him. So all right, so this is one for you, Jeff, and of course, I hope you're enjoying this at heaven. So, yes, it is. All right, so folks, I just wanted to tell you there is one of the comments right now. Kid Murray's in the building. How's it going, Kid Murray? Salute to you. Also, Dana Berry's in the building. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And yes, we just got Murder BX. Salute to you, Murder BX. So, right now, it is a special episode because we're going to break it down for the Double or Nothing, King and Queen of the Ring, and of course, the most important showdown on this sports MMA, the UFC 302, which is on Newark, New Jersey. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, right now we have our co-host for the Combat Club. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to break it down for this episode number 12. So here it is, folks. Oh.
Whoa. What's good? Thank you so much for holding it down. You know what I was doing already, but we don't need to talk about that. What's good, Daniel? What's good, kid? What's good, Murder? Thank you guys so much for being here on another episode of the Combat Club. And thank you so much, Raphael, for holding it down. I'm running a bit late after work. Appreciate you, my friend. Let's get it.
All right. So right now, the first topic we're talking about for the breaking down for ANEW, Double or Nothing, and of course, King of Queen of the Ring. Now, a lot of people doesn't know about this because we just saw a lot of surprises in King and Queen of the Ring, but also ANEW Double or Nothing Las Vegas. Not only we just saw Adam Cole, but also the triumphant return of MGF in Las Vegas. And a lot of people doesn't know about this because both pay-per-views I became like very solid, but I really think that they just need like a more energy to more incredible. Because remember the last year we just got MGF, Jack Perry, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, one of the four filers of the ANEW, but then we just got like, wow, they just got Stuart Strickland versus Christian Cage for the championship. I mean, that could have happened a lot. So let's see for the results. If people miss it for the Double or Nothing, so there it goes right now. So there is the results. Diana Purrazzo defeat Thunder Rosa. The Acclaimed defeat Cage of Agony. Will Ospreay defeat Roger Strong for the International Championship. Also for the trio match, the Unified World Trios Championship. The Bang Bang Gang defeat Dead Triangle. Timeless Tommy Storm defeated by Serena Deeb. Orange Cassidy defeat Trent Beretta. John Mosley defeat Konosuke Takeshita. Mercedes Moné defeat Willem Wingill for the TBS Women's Championship. And the Allied defeating Team ANEW by Anarchy in the Arena match. So, first and foremost, we got to talk about for Double or Nothing and then for the King and Queen of the Ring. So, right now, I'm going to let my co host Science say about the Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, which is in last weekend, which is like blew us away. So here it goes.
I want to say a big shout out to Greenspan. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon as well. And we are a big fan of you guys for watching.
All
If it
right.
wasn't for you guys, I mean, like we'll still be doing this, but it wouldn't be as fun. So we really appreciate that, guys. And
Yes, sir.
as for King of the Ring, man, that was an amazing event that I didn't watch. So I apologize, Raphael. I am gonna have to turn the mic over to you because I'm not about to BS the best fans in the business. I want to give my full transparency, and I want to give 100% with you guys. I didn't watch it, so I'm gonna let Raphael hold it down for King of the Ring, and I heard it was a good one. I know the boys on Premium Takes was really excited about that.
I mean, for the King of Queen of the Rain, I mean, that was like very shocking. But I guarantee that Randy Orton should deserve for the King of the Ring because that match was really rough. In my opinion, right now, Randy Orton deserve a lot. But how in the hell? Because I know they have a lot of experience, he had a lot of legacy, but they just hold it down against Gunther. I mean, the shoulder was really wide, but I don't think that that was like very televised. I don't think that was on the script, but that was just like a big tournament, top notch from the top to the bottom. I mean, there was absolutely like the performance of Randy Orton that was like absolutely because Randy Orton and AJ Styles providing back to back premium live events, they still delivered a classic. This just felt like an old school mania event, but two like a bidding after living after each other. I mean, that was just like I cannot describe it because such delirium movie to go both with amazing storyteller. People will overanalyze to the finish instead of enjoying everything leading to up to it. I mean, man, what can I tell about it? And including for Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, what can I tell about this? That was just like great classic. Even though there's some fans that are supporting for Logan Paul, but I think that it's gonna be like the next challenger. And for the Undisputed Universal Championship, I mean, so far in Cody title defense, we haven't seen like at a Birmingham or a Brett Breaker. How long is gonna be seen like at a Tiger Driver against some bomb of the victory star? I mean, there's few occasions for the where Cody would save Logan because he was like very green and there was like the vertical suplex. He's very lazy, but if they're gonna push him like this one, so it's not gonna go into hurt people because Logan lost because he's just trying to use some moves like the crossroads. If he was listening to the tribal chief, he will know about the move because whatever did start the crossroads when it gets the ropes, I mean, there's like a zero chance of it happening. But I thought that it's gonna be like a losing or winning, but I even see like a putting out at the banger. But in that event, I mean, that was like realistic not only for Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax, but also there was another matches that I really enjoy about this. And we just brought like rookies versus veterans. I mean, they just put it down for like an amazing weekend on Saudi Arabia. And what about this happy because right now, who could be like the next contender for Cody Rhodes? Who can be like the next contender for Logan Paul? I will say that Logan Paul will face it all against for for LA Knight. And probably Cody Rhodes would have it like hold it down for Money in the Bank if everybody just stands up. So it is. So I know this is gonna be like a really realistic, but I would love to see more action between rookies versus veterans in this same company.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well
Yeah,
said.
and of course for the double or nothing, because I will see it like at everything. But I cannot tell about this once in a lifetime. MGF doesn't give a fuck because MGF he became like one of the greatest of all time because not only he's the best in the ring, not only he's the best on the microphone, but he would give like a great master class everything because there's no holding back in this one because everybody thought that MGF could move into WWE or New Japan, but after that I just saw about this, he's not going to WWE and he roasted not only for
National
the
Jacob Fredman.
yes. Yeah, but
That's
I
all I
will
wanted to
tell
say.
you this one. He is like very undeniable because that energy can put on this level, but I really thought that it could happen. But this one, he was nearly like a return because he just signed with extension. But I thought it's gonna be removed from the official roster page, but I say no. The situation is not very pleasant, but they're gonna do working out the fine right now. But that was just like an incredible
Let me ask you this.
performance.
Let me ask you this. Is
Uh-huh.
you think he's ready for the main roster?
Yeah, he's gonna be ready for the main roster because he just signed it like an extension, and then he's gonna be ready for
So
another
so
pay-per-view.
he is basically gonna come to the main roster eventually.
Oh yes, yes.
Deservedly so. I love it. Continue.
But I really think that MGF could make it like anything better. But in that point right now, he's not gonna live everywhere because during for the scene for the first match what he got for the MGF, I mean, that dude was like a phenomenon over this decade. And in this right here, I mean, not only it's just sort of broken out for the silence, but I know he's gonna back to the extension. He's among for the highest earners, and he has support the deal. I mean, he was sort of showing off for the WrestleMania, SummerSlam, but no, he was totally had to go to see more for the MGF because he amongst the highest earners per deal because he's a goddamn generational talent. I mean, he's going for the big leagues, but man, they just need the Broncos back because the attendance and the ratings are getting slow to coming back. But we will surely get the help for the audience, including for this return of Double or Nothing.
Well said.
Yeah, but in that pay-per-view, like at a Double or Nothing, I mean, after that I just saw about this, I mean, what can I tell about this? After we just saw for the four pilots of ANEW, I was getting shocked. But then with the Surf Strickland versus Christian Cage, I thought it was going to happen. But after we just saw for Mercedes Monet, I mean, wow. What can I tell about this, folks? That pay-per-view was like the greatest thing, but tell me 5 years ago with the Christian and Edge, we have both singles and the match with a competitor, and I will call it this because we'll still get the match right now. We'll still like it very enough. But it looks like they had to go to see like how it is going for the ANEW and WWE. I mean, what can I tell about this, folks? Between the battle of two amazing companies, which is ANEW and WWE, they were going to force it out for the battle during for the summer because not only they just had all in, but also they just got SummerSlam, Money in the Bank. I mean, the huge competition after which you saw is gonna be like very tougher. I mean, the competition along with NEW versus WWE, it will be increment not only for the fans but also for the sales during for that summer. I mean, what can I tell you about this, folks? Man, I love to see that coming because right now both companies of wrestling it became superior because after that I just saw I was like getting involved with this one. I mean, what can I tell about this, folks? And I know my fraud is gonna be like so realistic, but what can I tell about this? This summer is gonna be unforgettable for both of the companies. NEW with All In and also for WWE, including for Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. I mean, what can I tell about this? Clash of the Castle, which is the big and important. I mean, what can I tell about this, folks? During for the battle of the WWE versus ANEW, it's all about marketing. It's all about for the fans, and we just know about for the wrestling. We just know about it because the battle is gonna be so realistic, so huge that nobody see that coming, and nobody miss those pay-per-views. They're gonna watch it at home. I mean, what can I tell you? The battle is gonna be so incredible. I mean, the WWE versus ANEW for the pay-per-views. I mean, they're gonna put a lot of great things about this.
That is facts. And if I wasn't a casual, I would say this as a casual, these WWE fans, it's a good time to be alive because this Triple H era or whatever they're calling it. If I'm a big time WWE, if I was a big time WWE fan, I would be super excited about this. I mean, like we went from just your PG era that was really like you can't even have a drop of blood,
Oh
to
yes,
like
I remember
to
this.
like really a era that kind of reminds me of back in the day, like the Attitude Era. You know what I'm saying? The Ruthless Aggression Era. It reminds me of that time. And who was a big time wrestler around that time? It was Triple H. And now that he's making the decision, he has final say. and what goes on in the company, I'm absolutely stoked if I was a WWE fan. I enjoyed both events, says Murder. I have a lot to catch up on. It's been years since I watched wrestling, and that's
Oh
the thing
yes,
too, right? It's
exactly, exactly.
so much events, and it's kind of like, what do you keep up with? There's so much things to watch, and that's why we love talking combat sports, because of the fact that we can't just cover one thing when there's so much things to cover. But I'm right with you. I'm right with you, Murder BX. Like, it's been years since I actually watched the whole year of WWE. Absolutely, we got Ray Love in the building. He says
Hello,
Raiders.
yes, hello to
Let's
you.
get
But
it.
also for that comment of Murder BX because he was enjoying for the boy to bands because he was really catching up because we're not lawyers, we're not doctors, we just read fans of wrestling since the beginning. And no matter what happens, because not only for the wrestling, but also we just fan for the combat sports, which is like we know about this. We know about for the great knowledge, we know about for the professional athletes who are giving up for breaking down, just like for the good or bad feelings. But I know exactly how we're gonna feel about. And after we just talking about for ANEW, Double or Nothing, and King
Thank you
of
so much
Queen
for
of
being
the
here, Ray.
Ring, yep. Salute to you for Ray Love in the building. So there's much interesting about for this weekend because this one is gonna be a huge banger because we're talking about for the UFC 302, which is on Newark, New Jersey, and they just had two amazing fights: Michael Beach versus Poirier for the championship, and Strickland versus Costa. It's gonna be on this one, so I don't know what's gonna decide it because the main card of the UFC 302 is gonna be like a serious bangers. So right now, let's get to the breaking down for this one because I know the main card it should be like really interesting. It should be interesting because right now I have a feeling that the main card is gonna be so intense that nobody see that coming around. But I think that the both main events, which is like the co-main event and the main event, could be realized in knockouts, could be realized in submissions. But I really can expect it for this one. So right now we're gonna face it off with each other. So right now this is gonna be so realistic right now. So we're gonna breaking down for the fights, but it comes for the main card of the UFC 302 on Newark, New Jersey. So right now they just got Randy Brown versus Eliseo dos Santos for the welterweight, Gelton Almeida versus Alexander Ronemol for the heavyweight, Kevin Holland versus Mikhail Olkiewicz, which is a middleweight, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, also from middleweight, and Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier for the UFC lightweight championship. I mean, it's gonna be so two great fighters who will be there, and others as well. But I really thought it's gonna be like a really decent card. And I will screen with the star right now because he will go not to the session. He will finish Dustin because it should be like an easy one. But as long as I don't think that the grappler can be trusted to find the finish concept for the raid, especially doesn't composure off for a really look. But right now, let's just see for the event right now. So let's see for the fight card. Welterweight Randy Brown versus Eliseo dos Santos. So I'm gonna leave my co-host to talk about for Randy Brown versus Eliseo dos Santos for the welterweight. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, shout out to Murder one more time. Yes, Big Blue in the building, but hopefully, don't want to
Oh
get
yeah.
our hopes too high. Daniel Jones is still our quarterback. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, we can block for him. Hopefully, Malik Neighbors can help him out. But that being said, looking at this main card, I mean, like, it starts off with an amazing fight. We got Randy Brown versus Zaleski. Randy Brown is off a 2-fight win streak. Zaleski's on a 2-fight win streak. Both matched up and similar. I believe Zaleski's holding the 21st ranking. Randy Brown is holding the 16th ranking, both in the welterweight division. If I had to just pick one, I'll obviously pick Randy Brown here. I think his experience and not that Zaleski hasn't faced tougher competition, because he has, but I just think that Randy Brown is streaking right now, and obviously Zaleski is too. But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna put my money on Randy Brown. I do believe he does have the better striking here. I could be totally wrong, and we could see what happens. But I do believe that every fight, does start off striking, so pretty similar in competition. But at the end of the day, give me Randy Brown in this matchup. Moving on to Jolton Almeida versus Romanov. I have to be honest with you guys. I don't really know that much about this Romanov guy. All I know is he's heavyweight. He's been absolutely killing this competition. His last couple of fights has gone to decision, but he has some early submissions in his record, with also some knockouts. One thing that scares me about Jolton is his last fight against Curtis Blades. I mean, like, maybe it hurt him because it hurt me because I'm still traumatized of it because I had him on my DraftKings lineup and all he had to do was fucking win and I would have cashed big. But what does he do? He just leaves his head there and has Curtis Blades, I believe it was Curtis Blades, just hammer fisting him, and he just doesn't even move. He just stays there and he gets knocked out. Curtis Blades knocks him out in 36 seconds in the second round. So it's like, come on, Jolton, you have to somewhat strike when it gets to this level of competition. And the fact that he was able to get away with it for this long, it amazes me. But this is just really bad matchup for him, honestly, on the feet. I honestly think that Romanov is going to try to keep this fight standing, and I'm not too sure that I'm not too sure that Jolton is going to be able to take this guy down. Now, if he takes this guy down, he automatically wins the fight. That's in my personal opinion. But even though, like, don't get me wrong though. Romanov, he's a submission guy. I mean, like, he got 10 wins from submissions, but I believe there is levels to this shit. And nothing against him, but I do believe that if this fight goes to the ground, Jolton is a much better ground fighter. But if this stays standing, give me my money on Alexander. And I think this does stay standing because both fighters are good at the ground. And who knows? Does Romanov want to take him to the ground? Does Romanov want to shoot in at Jolton and try to make this a ground fight, being that he does have 10 submissions in his career? If I was him, I wouldn't. Going into the next fight, now this is a fun fight. We got Michael. He's 7-5 in the UFC, 19-7 overall. Kind of just like he's always on the verge of making it into the top 15 and then he loses. So it's like he's just like your hard-working fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, he's fighting basically for a contract right now, being that he's 7-5 for the UFC, and he might not make it that long if he keeps on losing. His ass might be fighting for Bellator soon, but he is going against a Kevin Holland, a guy that is going to give him every chance in the book, that is going to talk shit. And Kevin Holland had a bunch of tough outs as late. He did have his outs against, Michael Venom Page, MVP. He just ran against a young stud in Jack Delamania. He ran against, who did he just fight not too long ago too? Chimaya, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like he's been in there against killers, and the level of competition is why I'm picking Kevin Holland. Michael hasn't fought the level of competition that Kevin Holland has fought, and for me, I'm just gonna give it a easy dub for Kevin Holland. Not saying that Michael can't win, but you really got like the 37th middleweight matching up against the 7th welterweight. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm gonna take Kevin Holland, and I believe this fight is gonna be at middleweight, but Kevin Holland is a true welterweight. That being said, brings us to the main event. I know I've been holding on to Mike for a long time, guys, but this is gonna be just a fun one, man. We have Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa absolutely looked amazing. The fight that Rafael originally asked me about, I finally get to. I have to get covered everybody and take the mic and just hog it real fast. But I am gonna talk about Paulo Costa, man. He shocked me going out there. And not his win against Luke Rockroad, his fight against Robert Whittaker. Now, obviously, Robert Whittaker ended up winning that fight, but it was really close. And he showed that he could go out there and strike with the best in the division. And who is some of the best strikers in the division? Sean Strickland. Obviously, a matchup that I would have gave him the victory. I think that Sean Strickland won against that South African guy, Duplessis. But honestly, the judges be judges. We can't complain. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that Sean Strickland is gonna piece up Pablo. Now, Sean Strickland, he is known to get a bit cocky and to get clipped. We all seen it against Alex Pereira not too long ago. He fucking flew like 5 feet across the octagon. You know what I'm saying? And Pablo, not Escobar. We're talking about Costa. Pablo, he does have the ability to put people's lights out like this, but I do believe that Sean Strickland is a and people might call me crazy. I think he's a more superior striker than Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker was in there, not piecing him up, but kind of piecing up Costa. My money's on Sean Strickland here, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Rafael. I do want to get his thoughts on the three story fights, then the co-main event, before we do touch on the Islam versus Destin Poirier fight. Go right ahead, Rafael. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, because for that fight between Randy Brown versus Eliseu dos Santos, which is from Brazil, you know what? Randy Brown was known for athletic prowess and versatile striking skills. He has a very significant reach advantage for the most of the fights, which he used very effectively to manage distance and landful impactful strikes. Also, he's very competitive on the ground. He thought defense is gonna be very aggressive, but grapplers can sometimes be a bold and everything. For the Eliseu dos Santos, he brings up a orthodox striking style. He's aggressive, often to taking the press or the actions with spinning kicks and powerful looping punches.
Yes,
it's gonna be potential to devastate it, but the approach could leave him for the counter strikes. His ground game is very solid. That is not the primary focus of the game plan, but it's a thought gritty underdog that he shows with his previous fight that in the dome, which is answered a drop. It's gonna be a tough, close fight. But I will say that Randy Brown is going to win this. And for the heavyweight, Jalton Almeida versus Romano. Jalton Almeida just like a white blanket. Let's kind of know what they could do for the cage, because he's going to wrestle his opponent for the rounds and even through the submission down for this opponent.
Did you see that? I mean, we watched that fight, right?
Against a good wrestler.
No, sorry to interrupt you, Rafael, but you watched that fight. I mean, it's literally 2 inches from your face, but all you have to do is move your head. I mean, block the hammer fist for crying out loud. It's just literally, it was so awkward watching. I'm like, dude, this guy just got knocked out by a hammer fist. Now, who am I to judge? I'll probably get knocked out by a hammer fist, but I don't fight professionally, and I'll be more cautious to move my head. I mean, god dang, it's Curtis Blades. I just don't understand, but I'm sorry to take up your time. Go right ahead.
Yeah, but I know this is gonna be but I don't think that was.
Sorry, I'm responding to the chat.
Yeah, that was a great one in the chat. Also, I don't think that Alexander Romano is gonna be stopped to Almeida for taking down and hug him for 50 straight minutes. Romano is probably better than Almeida on the feet, but my concern about for the quick turnaround for Almeida, because that fight was not gonna down for all call 2 months ago. But I have no confidence in Romano's takedown at defense to proceed commercially, but it should be a previous victory here. Now, for Kevin Holderline versus Michael Abdulshu, what can I say about it? Kevin's just one of the untrustworthy fighter that you can put your money when you get a bet, because he just the talent, the ability to win fights and motivations. The content was showing up, but they're getting paid, putting on show. I mean, MVP bet on with his own game, but the latest fight, and that was the conviction that not putting out the money on this guy because he will resolve the more clapping. That's like a fish out of the water. But they show up with the oranges here to do so. But Michael also Lloyd is a greedy underdog. He's the place quickly in the previous fight by Michael Pereira. I think it's going to be stay competitive for the fighters above for the top level. But a big line of the whole line, I mean, this card, I will never put it on my money because I do like it to have a chance to win. He could keep it very competitive and close enough for the decision, but including to fool around, not to take this fight seriously to get the judge. But also after that, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. I mean, there's an argument that made that Sean Strickland will remain champ and should be the defender instead of fighting Paulo Costa. Besides, all that's a controversial outspoken on social media is actually a solid conservative fighter in the cage. Not only he just play impressive striking defense against for that sign, he tends to rhythm up into the chat, but to keep a forward pressure to give the opponent for the opponents to get decision wins. But it's gonna be a solid fighter. He was proved to able to hang with the elites on this division. I mean, his opponent Paulo Costa, he brings power and aggression and striking. If he does show up, that he show up that he's a good fighter because I had the competitive fight against Roy Whittaker. I mean, Costa will be given a Strickland watch the promise in this fight, and that's gonna be a tricky matchup because I'm going out for the Strickland because it seems that he made that leap into this career to be a contender in the division. I mean, he's really better striker than Costa. Having the edge when it comes to the defense, as long as not mentally distracted, you should be able to see, boom, Another champion is way to the victory right here.
Yeah, I mean, like
And
at
for
Strickland,
the
you don't
main
work this
card,
fucking hard. You don't work this hard to get knocked out against Costa.
yep.
Like you don't do that, Strickland. This will literally set your career back. Like literally, you go viral every time you go on social media. It feels like, and when
Oh
he had the
yes.
champion, he was like the people's champion, and I still feel that there's a way that he can work his way back up there, and it starts right here. It starts with going in there, taking out this guy in the first 2 rounds and calling it a day and celebrating it the way Sean Strickland does, and he's right back into that title picture. Continue, Raphael. I'm sorry. I know you're about to talk about that main card.
Yeah, I know I have it much energy, but right now let's just get him back to the main card. Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. I mean, let's get it out of the way. Imagine if during the round number one, UFC 299, Islam Makhachev wasn't at the position on the ground. But what would happen? Most likely to him good off with the submission against Dustin and finish for the fight to round number one. I'm gonna say, like it is, Dustin Poirier has a little bit of chance to beat Makhachev. Only Makhachev could cause himself by underestimating busting or doing something stupid like Benassan Dennis or Wajidisha brawl for the pocket. I mean, Makhachev is definitely like the best grappler and has a clear path to victory in this fight. He's controlling the ground. He has ability to submit opponents are top notch. This is like a compliment to Strangling where you saw knocking it down for the bulk of the last fight. Now, Dustin Poirier has a winning opportunity if he decides to brawl for some reason. Poirier has a solid striking on this game, but the ability to knock out Makhachev. If it's going to a brawl, because I don't understand about the exception for the guillotine or the full that he decides to against Makhachev since Poirier has really exposed that move. But I really hope that Makhachev learned a lesson not playing with fire with someone against lost Adriano Martins. If he goes for the grappling heavy game plan, it should be right out of the way from the no plan to get the chop to him. So I will say this, Islam Makhachev will win it by knockout. Not only for the first one, but also give it like the second one. So, I mean, his talent is undeniable. You can never fuck with Islam Makhachev if it's going for the Raw or it's going for the UFC Octagon. You can never miss that. Man.
I mean, like, who am I to pick against him? But here, give me this. I'm gonna have this moment real fast. I'm gonna look at Islam, right? This guy is literally 25-1. He was the next coming of the Khabib. You know what I'm saying? Of the Khabib. Of that. He was the next one. After Khabib, he said it. You know, everything they said, they accomplished, right? They said, Khabib said before he retired that Islam is next. He grew up with Khabib. He basically was the second in line. His coach was the late and great Khabib's father. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to mess up his name, so I don't want to slaughter him in all respects. So I'm just gonna say Khabib's dad. But you know what I'm saying? They kind of knew what was gonna happen. Khabib was gonna retire eventually. Islam was gonna take his place, and that is exactly what happened. You know, they said they was gonna go fly to Australia and beat up Volkanovski. That's basically exactly what happened. Even though Volkanovski was winning some of that fight, he still lost in the end. Then he took the fight on short notice and literally got knocked out. And then he for sure really lost. You know, you have Islam that is 25-1. He is 14-1 in the UFC with 9 finishes. And I want to look at that too, because most of his rise has been his rise. Ever since he got the championship, he only faced the featherweight that was Alexander Volkanovski. And if some will argue, and I would say this with that, I would say it was a tired Volkanovski. It was a Volkanovski before, like a GSP, before he did his whole thing against John Fitch. It was a Volkanovski that has been Islam just lost the title, and it almost like he was rejoiced when he lost the title because he knew that was a relief because all the media pressure was out the way. Fighting multiple times the year was kind of like, yo, let me just take back and really get back into the lab and really improve. GSP said it when GSP retired. It was like a lot of pressure on the guy. You know what I'm saying? When you have a championship and you hold on for that championship for a long time, there's so much things that come with that, such as media obligations. And don't get me wrong, I mean, like, I know all of us, if we was in that job, we all would want to make the money that these fighters make, and we all know, like, who doesn't want to do media? That seems easy, but at the end of the day, It can take a drain on your body. You know what I'm saying? nothing to take away from his fighting. I think he is one of the best fighters. He is clearly up there as one of the pound for pound. I wouldn't have him as number one because I do believe that John Jones, even though he's not active, he just kind of fought. So how do we just take him away? I do have John Jones as my number one. But in all of that point that I just made, that was his rise. He fought an Alex that I believe needed just some time off, and Alex almost took him out that first fight, even though he lost. That second fight, it was a bad weight cut, and that's what basically cost him. So I'm not trying to make excuses for Alex, but I honestly think that Alex was fighting too much, and he needed kind of just to take a step back. I mean, like you look at GSP. GSP took a step back, focused fully on training, and then kicked ass against Michael Bisping. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait till Adesanya gets back because the style bender, when he gets back, oh shit, he might go in there and dust up Sean Strickland. Like that's how good he might look. You know what I'm saying? He might go in there and call out Alex because Alex Pereira is just taking over the sport. You know what I'm saying? But my point being,
Yep.
I honestly think it's Destin's time. Destin lost both fights due to rear naked choke. Best believe, Destin, you are 30-8, 22-7 in the UFC. He clearly was in there against the best of the best of the best of the best. If your resume looks right side by side to Islam's, the opponents that you faced is superior. Now, I don't want to take anything up against Islam. He has fought good competition, but Destin's resume is just far more superior. So all this 11 weeks of training camp, best believe whatever you guys been training an American top team, I hopefully it's a real naked choke defense in BJJ because that's how you lost both fights that you're fighting for the championship. You lost the first time real naked choke against Khabib. You lost the second time real naked choke against Oliveira. So at the end of the day, like please, bro, like yes, you did win an interim championship, dusting up Max Holloway in a decision, but this gonna be a really tough fight, and if you're gonna take Islam to a decision, desperately, you're gonna have to win all of those rounds because it's a championship fight. You have to look damn good doing it, and I don't think you can. I honestly think you have the ability to knock this guy out and get back up to your feet if he takes you down because he will take you down. It's gonna happen. The takedown defense is not gonna help you. It's getting back up to your feet and defending those attacks that's gonna come on the bottom. If you can do that, and I honestly think that Destin
Exactly.
I honestly think so that Destin will be able to piece him up on the feet. That Islam, I'm not down in his striking because Islam has great striking, but I honestly think Destin has just hit another prime. It's almost like his second prime, and I know that's hard to imagine because he just got knocked out 2 fights ago. But I honestly think he's ready to take this championship and finally place himself on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. And to that end, I will say this: call me crazy, but I'm gonna have Destin Poirier in a TKO stoppage in the 3rd round. I think he's gonna land. I think Islam is gonna start to rush on takedowns, and Khabib's gonna be in this corner screaming, and Islam is gonna be able to take Destin down, and there's gonna be so much scrambling in this fight when Islam gets hurt, because I have a feeling that he will be hurt at times, and it's up to Destin to not get caught because don't get caught in that scramble. You need to get him off of you and back the fuck up and piece him up, and hopefully that happens. And honestly,
Yep.
if I had a gun to my face, I wouldn't make this bet. You know, I'm picking Islam, but I have a feeling that Destin will get it done TKO stop. You see, don't put money on it. I'm not, like, I don't want to be responsible for you guys losing money. Islam has 9 out of 10 times, guys. Islam wins this fight. Let's just be clear. But something tells me that Destin Poirier is going to leave the champion. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to say that.
Yes, it is. And of course, after we just talked about for you Newark, New Jersey. So right now there is like the last topic we're talking about it. So after we just saw for the coming back return of Conor McGregor, so there's gonna be like a possibility to see like another star, so we take like a break. So first and foremost, the legendary
That's
fan
why I
favorite,
said 9
Nick
out of 10
Diaz.
times, Tommy. Sorry as well, Raphael, but that's why I said 9 out of 10 times. But I will say this: my pick'ems at these UFC's been spotless. I will say that. I picked
Okay.
Sean Strickland to knock out Izzy, and he almost did, obviously. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Stixie Cod, brother. I love it, Tommy. Cod, I haven't played in a bit. Oh, I know season 4 just dropped. Continue, Raphael. Let's get it.
All right. So I know that after we just saw for the coming back return to Conor McGregor, so there's a possibility to see like in another fighters. Just like, for example, the legendary fan favorites, Nick Diaz, Tony Ferguson will step on the octagon once again because Dana White just announced for the return fights for the two veterans will happen on August 3 before the week of my birthday in Abu Dhabi. Diaz will take on the center look in a 5-round co-main event, while Ferguson matches out with Michael Chiesa on the main card. Both fights will take place at welterweight. Diaz, the older brother for Nate, hasn't unfolded since losing to Robbie Lawler in 2021. That was also his first fight in 6 years. Now, Diaz is now 40, winning less of the bouts for the past 4 UFC bouts. His last winning came in bouts against BG Penn, what is called out the UFC 337. He just called out George St. Pierre. Also, Lucas looking for the past one for the past spell. Also, we see the most recent, but Ferguson, like, also he was 40, but he's hoping like a snap for a 7-fight losing streak where he met Chiesa. He didn't say about it with Ferguson retirement, but he could be like a Ferguson last fight because his last fight in December, he just lost an 9-minute decision to Paddy Pimblett. Additionally, because this is like the updated card. Nick Diaz versus Lucente Luque, Michael Chiesa versus Tony Ferguson. And I know they're coming crazy, but how about those fighters are not winning, like training off when they're 40? Because right now, because there's like a battle for rookie and veterans. Some athletes, they're getting better shape, whether it comes to the 40s, to 50s. They're having an amazing shape and they're training since like the first day you came in.
I think this is stupid. Nothing against Diaz, nothing against Ferguson. I just don't understand it. Nick Diaz is one of the premier fighters when he was fighting in Strikeforce. I remember him coming over. I believe he fought Anderson. He fought. Did he fight GSP? He did, right? I believe he had like a long ass win streak at one point. But at the end of the day, I kind of wish that this stupid. I remember this. It was like fucking. Sorry, the committee's all like, you're banned from weed for 5 years, and come to think about it, that has passed a while back. So it's kind of like I kind of wish that he would have got active a little bit more faster because I believe that was up, and he was. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was up, and he was 38 or 39. Now that he's 40, it's kind of like it's almost like a circus fight. At the end of the day, Tony Ferguson is washed and he should be retiring. This would be something of a Bellator fight, if you ask me. This is totally something that Bellator will make. And the fact that the UFC's making it just questions me. I have Nick Diaz totally beating the shit out of Tony. Like, Tony doesn't stand a chance. Call me crazy. Tony could show up, but he hasn't showed up for the last 10 fights, it seems like. And with Nick, he hasn't fought forever. So all that guy does is fight. So he's been in the gym. So it's gonna be an ass whooping. Nick's gonna beat Tony's ass. So I don't understand this fight. That's why I don't like it. It's because it's so one-sided that I get it. Nick Diaz is 40, but he's Nick Diaz. Even though if he looks fat, even though if he looks chubby, that's fucking Nick Diaz. Well, he's gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? And Tony, it just doesn't. There's no reason to make this fight. If I'm Tony, why are you taking this fight? I don't know why Tony took this fight. I really don't.
Yeah, I know, because I know that their fight is gonna be like a surrealistic, but I really thought that Nick Diaz could be retired because how the hell is gonna be those fighters like under 40 and they still have a better shape? The main reason for Nick Diaz, he wants very, very popular fighters that will go for this one, but after he was just looking for a 5-year ban, it was literally like 18 months, which is very absurd. But I think that Nick Diaz, they saw the brothers UFC sacrifice. Who could have thought about this? Because
that's
brothers, they just kind of like a great choice.
Not to interrupt you, but that's why I don't understand it. Okay, you get it. You got Nick Diaz back, all right? So Nick Diaz is finally back, and this guy does not have wear and tear on the tires. He hasn't been fighting. In my mind, he's fresh. I mean, like, look at Mike Tyson. He's about to fight Jake or something like that. And I've seen something happen with that fight, so I don't know if that fight is still on or not. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, it's Nick Diaz, so I would be more happy if they fed him straight to the top 15. Like, why the fuck you fighting a Tony Ferguson? That's just gonna be a punching bag to you. So Nick Diaz is gonna go in there and piece up Tony Ferguson, and we're gonna learn nothing. We're gonna learn nothing from this fight. We're gonna learn that Nick Diaz can probably still fight, and Tony Ferguson needs to retire. And what did we learn that? We learned that 3 fights ago that Tony Ferguson needs to retire. But I guess Tony Ferguson wants my CTE, so go and be Nick Diaz's punching bag. And if you win, I'm the kind of person that you need to shut up. I mean, like, shut me up, Tony. But you know what's not going to happen? Tony's not going to win. Nick Diaz is going to win, and it's just a pointless fight, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, we're just wrapping it up for this episode number 12 of the Combat Club, along with El Capitan Rafucho and Zenith. And I'm gonna cut it down.
Give me. Let me just say this. So he's fighting Tony. That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. I mean, that's happening.
Vicente Luque would have been a better matchup than him.
Yeah,
I don't understand this. Tony, go be Diaz's punching bag. I apologize. And George St. Pierre will never come back to the MMA. I don't know why people try to lure him out of come out of retirement. George St. Pierre is officially done, people.
Yeah, it is. But right now, we're gonna wrap it out. This episode number 12. So I'm gonna cut the music right now because during for the beginning of the Combat Club, along with my co-host Zenith, this one is dedicated to our beloved friend, our beloved brother, Jeffrey Turner, which is an amazing content creator for the New York Giants. It's been 1 year since we lost him because the last time I had the opportunity to talk with him, it was like Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, because that was like one of the most incredible moments that I just saw for the last time. And those Fridays with Jeff talking about for sports, NFL, and of course wrestling, I mean, they're historical. They're part of the legacy. They're like undeniable because every time you see Jeff on his YouTube channel providing some great takes on wrestling, great takes on New York Giants, the Brooklyn Nets, also for the New York Mets, I mean, what can I tell about it? He has an amazing style, amazing talent, great energy, and we'll never forget about for the legacy, because without Jeff, I mean, this could be hard for us, but they gave us like a great inspiration to become some great content creators. And this episode is going to be dedicated right here. So I know it's going to be very emotional, but we're going to dedicate to our beloved friend Jeff. I hope you're watching this on the heavens. So salute to Jeff, salute to this family right now. So it's going to be hard to take a look at the moment. So God bless you, Jeff. God bless you. Jeff, we miss you, and God bless you. And it's been an episode for the Combat Club. Hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications, and subscribe to our channel.
Appreciate you guys all for showing love. All of you guys in the chat, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe to our channels, El Capitan Rafucho and Zenith. Also, I'm on my way to 1K subscribers. So what can I tell about this, folks? There is much love and respect for the both of those. So thank you very much, and have a great week. Have a great weekend. And of course, we will see you there on the next week, on the next episode of the Combat Club, because we're the Mission Martial Arts, boxing, and wrestling fans united on this club, because this is like the chance to fight anywhere, anyone. So here it is, folks. Here it comes in another episode of the Combat Club, episode number 12. And we are out of here. So thank you very much. And of course, we will see you there the next week. So like I said, folks, God bless you. And of course, like my brother Sayaseni said, let's get it, folks. So salute to you.